So we've got a property that AutoMapper couldn't figure out for itself, the photo URL. And until we get an AI version of AutoMapper, then that's what I'd expect it to do. And there's no AI AutoMapper on the horizon, by the way. That was just a flippant comment I made without any basis in fact. But our AutoMapper profiles, if we go back here, this is where we tell AutoMapper about properties that it doesn't know how to map. And typically the way that I would use AutoMapper is just to do something like this, see what it can figure out for itself, and then if there's any gaps, then we can fill it with configuration. So we need our member DTO, the photo URL property, to be populated with what is the main photo in the photos collection. And to configure this, we can take away the semicolon there, and I'll just come below the create map, and we can chain on for member. And this allows us to customize the configuration for individual members used when the name isn't known at compile time. Okay, so for member, and then the first thing that we give this is which member we want to configure, so the destination member. So I'm going to say D for destination goes to d.photo URL. That's a property inside our member DTO. And then we give it the options and we say O goes to O, and where do we want to map from? And we'll specify map from, and inside parentheses we tell it what the source of the object is. So we'll say S for source goes to s.photos, and then the first or default, and inside here we then use a lambda expression to say we want to get the isMain photo. So we'll say x goes to x.isMain, and then .url. Now we're going to get a warning here because AutoMapper is not going to accommodate our null reference types, but what AutoMapper will do is if this isMain is not available, so let's supposing the user has no photos in their collection, then AutoMapper will just set the photo URL property to be null. But in order to remove this compiler warning, once again we need to use the null forgiving operator, the exclamation mark there. And we're basically telling our compiler, hey, this is okay, because AutoMapper will set photo URL to null rather than throwing an exception if there is no photo, and if there is no photo then it can't have an isMain property. Therefore, if we try and access the URL, then in theory our compiler's right, we should get a null reference error, but the way AutoMapper works, if this is null, then it's just going to set the photo URL to null and it's not going to throw an exception. So let's check the status of our terminal, and it tells us hot reload of changes succeeded. I have my doubts, but let's go see. And I'll run this request again. And do we have the photo URL set to main? No. So let's go back and restart our app once again, just to see if it's a hot reload problem or we just need to restart our app. And once it has restarted, let's go test again. So I'll click send, and this time we do indeed have our photo URL set for all of our different users. Perfect, that's what we're looking for, and let's just check the other request as well and send this one, and sure, once again we've got the photo URL set there. Excellent. Or is it? Is what we're doing optimal? And we're going to take a look and discuss that next.